We are live with my conspiracy theory that Superman #1 was bootlegged.
Yes. All of
That
a
just
sudden, a new one shows up.
we found it in an attic. It's been there since 1940. Really?
Yeah.
You found a Superman #1 in an attic since 1940? That must be the most climate controlled attic ever to come out of 9.0. I'm thinking that was bootlegged. $9 million. I'm like, yeah.
Mhm.
Could they tell if it was bootlegged at all, do you think? I don't think they could.
No. These are the guys that have no idea what they're doing. They'll look at the same comic, two different people, and it'll come up with completely different ratings for the comic.
Yeah. I'm thinking there's a good chance that could be bootlegged. 9.0 in an attic since 1940.
Uh-huh.
I have had some of those comics from the 90s that Jerry gave me in the garage for 5 years. Some of them are disintegrating. After 5 years in the garage, non-climate controlled. You're telling me that attics are not climate controlled? Come on. $1 million per point. Yeah.
Hello, Donald.
Counterfeit. Someone counterfeited that. I know it. Just like we were talking about a couple weeks ago. That's not real.
Now we have to do it. We have to do the Action Comics #1 bit. I can claim that it was found in an attic in France, left behind by a GI during the
There you go.
after D-Day. Yeah.
The old found in an attic.
Climate controlled in Western France, where it's not damp at all.
I saw Tim Howlermouse made a video on it earlier. The only thought that went through my head was, rich people playing rich people games. That's all it is. $9 million for Superman #1 is rich people playing rich people games. Has no effect on my life. Doesn't make my comics any more valuable. Not at all. But it does make me want to counterfeit one.
Yeah. I mean,
I think that one was counterfeit.
I'm pretty sure it's. So we have to get paper from the era.
Yep.
Oh, come on. There's got to be a way to make paper look old.
Yeah. There probably is.
So unless you figure out a way to read the microbes inside the paper.
Yeah, there'd be no way.
Yeah, so yeah, I think we can age the paper. We can yellow the paper.
You could probably print it through just like I don't even think you'd need to get a printing press of the era. You could print it just pressing it with you'd have to make the printing plate, of course, photochemically. You can still do that. You'd have to make 4 plates, 1 for each color, CMYK.
Mm-hmm.
And then you could just press it by hand. Put the piece of paper on, put a piece of weight on it. I'm pretty sure you could do it you could do it just like that. You could counterfeit it. You don't need a big, huge press at the time because the presses all worked the same. Yeah. It was just it was just a printing plate, and a piece of paper, and they pressed together. Hence, they're called presses. They press together, and the ink transfers from. You could do it just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody probably did.
Yeah. Unless it was Captain Infinity going back in time to find a copy. Yeah, was it you?
Did you find a copy? We got a Superman #1 9.0. And notice they didn't do Action Comics #1,
No, that would be too much.
Don't want to get too greedy.
Right.
Let's do a Superman #1. Let's counterfeit that.
I want to counterfeit Kid Colt Outlaw #1.
As maybe like a 50. No one will ever notice.
Right. if we could sell it for $100, but it would probably cost more than $100 to do a bootleg Kid Colt #1. I don't think you could sell it for much more than that. But as a test run, because then you could do a $1 million comic.
Yep. Proof of concept. You'll get your Kid Colt #1 out there. We'll have to practice removing the ink from a Golden Age comic. Captain Infinity says, I'm still waiting for YouTube to notify me that you're live.
Yeah, YouTube users from 2013 are still waiting for YouTube to notify that you're live. That feature has never worked in the entire time that YouTube has allowed live broadcasts. And you know that's true.
Yeah, so that's something we don't even need a big printing press of the time. We could do that just by, and I thought of this just because I've never done actual sort of lithography type printing, but I know how it's done. You know, you get a stone, but this wouldn't be lithography. We'd have to photochemically make the printing plate. But I know all those chemicals are still available because people still do photographs.
Right.
And I just saw a TikTok video of a woman whose husband made her printing press. And it was, I don't know if you've ever seen fine arts printing presses. It literally just presses the paper down on whatever. She was making linoleum cuts. And with linoleum cuts, you take a piece of linoleum and you cut it. And wherever you didn't cut the linoleum is where the black line is going to be. And then you run ink along the piece of linoleum. And then the whole key is you need a lot of pressure on the press in order to transfer the ink. So her husband just made her this thing, it's made out of wood and metal rods where it's got this big handle on it with lots of leverage so she can, lean down on it and it locks into place and a simple, I was like, you know what? That's all you don't need a big press. You just need something like that. And a photochemical plate. 62 Lefty Blues. Happy Friday. We're talking about counterfeiting comics again.
Yep. I think the universe is daring us.
They are.
Counterfeiting comics. Yeah. You just know it.
Because that Superman #1 is suspicious. 9.0 in an attic since 1940 or whenever it was in an attic. Come on. I've seen comics that come out of attics. They're not 9.0s.
And they haven't been there for 80 years.
Yeah. I tell you. One of the interesting things I got this week is the Ice Cream Man comic book in a card deck. Oop, I forget it's the wrong. They changed this. It's that one. The Mortal Coil. It is not a game. It is not a deck of cards. It is a comic book told as a deck of cards. That one's like a Magic the Gathering card as part of the story. That's the card for a divorce lawyer.
Turn it around because it's upside down. Rick Sweet.
Because the couple's getting divorced at that time. So and another Magic the Gathering card that
so those are numbered, I hope.
They're numbered 1 through 55.
Yeah, because somebody's going to try to read it out of order.
There's even part of the story there's they call it the Spanish number one game, which is Uno. So in part of Uno, there's reverse cards. So when you get to this reverse card, the story reverses for a couple of cards. And then you get another Uno reverse card, and the story reverses back. So it's very cleverly done. And in the back, it says, a helpful guide to reading this comic book. That's right, this might look like a deck of cards, but it is in fact a comic book. It's the story to be read. It is not a game to be played. To correctly experience the story, read the cards in order, starting with card 1 and ending with card 55. The cards come packaged in sequence and are also numbered for your convenience. Do not shuffle the cards. Doing so is tantamount to ripping the pages from a book and then taping them back together, all jumbled and out of order. Please do enjoy this comic book presented as 55 playing cards. Thank you for reading. And it's the story of a deadbeat dad who is a deadbeat because he gambles too much. Hence, we get actual cards in here at times. There's a 10 of spades. That's the card he drew at the casino. Then he drew the 10 of hearts. As the ice cream man, the casino dealer, got 21, so he lost all his money. Ramos come. Hello there, Wilson.
Hey.
Still no class to teach tonight?
No class to teach tonight, and no comics. I wasn't able to get to the comic shop this week, so
You don't need to go to the comic shop. You can just counterfeit a comic and sell it for $9 million.
We're
well,
talking about
I was busy bidding on that that
no.
Superman, and as much as I would like to say I was the winning bidder, I did not. All I was able to afford was the dot, so I was able to see if I can get it from the 7.1 million, and unfortunately, my bidding did not get up that high.
Well, we're talking about how we're suspicious that
Okay.
comic is counterfeit.
Really? Why is that?
In an attic for 80 years and it's a 9.0? That's some environmentally controlled attic.
Even for the CGC, that would be a very big costly mistake.
Okay. I have not heard the story behind the actual comic. I was aware that a comic sold for that much, but I didn't dig into anything further than seeing the end of the auction, but I didn't hear the story itself.
I just read it was found in the attic. I don't know even how true that is.
Okay.
Could have been lied to in that.
Right. Can there be a comic from that age that well preserved?
Yeah,
I
there
find
could
it very
be,
hard
but
to
not in
believe.
an
It
attic.
could be. Yeah, I don't know. There's been some photos recently on Facebook, and I believe it's AI, mainly because it shows like a school bus, an abandoned school bus on somebody's property, and there's a bunch of comics in there going back to the 60s.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that one.
And it's like, this is open to the elements.
Yeah.
Yes, the comics don't look in great condition, but they look in better condition than they should be.
Right.
And I don't know how much on the web that these, because again, I'm on plenty of sites and not sites, groups, and people
Right.
say, "Oh, look what I found here," or "Look what I found." One, there's the jealousy is like, man, I don't find any of that, and two, it's like, is that real?
I'm just saying I'm suspicious because no one ever talks about it could be counterfeit or not. How do they,
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
No one has ever heard of a counterfeit Superman. And notice it's Superman #1, not Action Comics #1. So, they were like, we don't want to get too greedy with an Action Comics #1. Let's do a Superman #1.
Yeah. The rumor mongers site is the one that says it was found in an attic. So 3 brothers going through their mom's stuff. Okay. I do not believe it.
Yeah.
Your mom did not keep 6 comic books. Your mom would have thrown away those comic books. You know it.
Yeah. It's all a little too suspicious for me, especially since we've been talking about counterfeiting comic books.
Maybe it isn't as hard as we think it is.
And I was just saying, I just realized too that because you don't need a big printing press to counterfeit a comic book. All you need is a little hand press, because all you would have to do is make. Have you ever seen how like old hand printing was done, where you just put a piece of paper on, ink. You would have to photochemically make the printed all 4 plates. You take the the yellow plate, you ink it up, you put it down, and you literally press down on it. You get your yellow down, you move it off, you put your magenta plate on, you go, you move it off, you put your cyan plate down. That's all you'd have to do. You wouldn't need a big printing press like back in it. How could you tell the difference
True, 'cause at
between
that point, you're
something being
using the
printed that way and something being printed on a, because that type of printing goes back hundreds of years.
right. So we're talking about as easy as having a um, screen printer, for T-shirts.
Yeah, something
What?
like that.
Yeah.
Not quite, because screens are different, but the same idea.
Yes, that you can have a small print.
Right.
Very good question.
Yeah.
Very good question. I don't know how they're getting the provenance for it.
Yeah. Good question. Let's see. Comics Progressive. Hey, can you get my new counterfeit Nito horror book in time for Christmas?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
you can. You can go to Donald Rex's website and get his Luis Nieto book about Charlton romance comics.
Yep. Captain, I'm a comic reader, not a collector. My Electra Assassin is falling apart literally because of multiple rereads. So I just ordered another edition. Yeah, your Electra Assassin collected edition is worth nothing anyway. So go ahead and read it to death. If you had a 9.8 Electra Assassin #1, that might be worth $50. Oh yeah, that playing card comic. I was showing. Well, I'll go back to showing this after we talk some more. I support overpriced counterfeit comics because collectors and speculators are not my people. I Ren Zero. I still think if you're going to counterfeit, the smart play is Batman #8 or Wonder Woman 35 or something that will bring them the money, but not be flashy enough to get media attention. How do we know they didn't already do that?
Yeah,
they already did that, and now they got away with it, so this is their big play.
Yeah.
Very well possible. I mean, I saw the price it went for, and it's like, oh, that's amazing. But at the same time, it's like, that's not a collector. That's
No.
something else altogether.
Rich people playing rich people games. That's the only
Yes.
thought that went through my head.
My feed was saying things like, laundering money.
Yeah.
It's like, that's fine. Everyone's going to have their own take on it, but it's just like, does this help the comic industry at all?
Not at all. It's rich people playing rich people games that has nothing to do with the rest of us.
Yeah,
which is why I'm claiming it's counterfeit.
Yeah, the quotes from
allegedly.
The quotes from the vice president of Heritage Auction just tell me that this is absolutely ridiculous. I'm thrilled for our consigner. Superman #1 is a milestone in pop culture history. Which is the type of thing you could have written on ChatGPT.
Yeah.
And this copy is not only in an unprecedented condition, it has a movie-worthy story behind it. Okay, you said the word movie. Nothing that you say is of interest anymore.
Movie-worthy story behind it. Now they're trying to sell the movie rights
Uh-huh.
to it. I just,
Yeah, but no.
I don't know.
Three
I
brothers going through their late mother's belongings discovered that she had 6 comic books tucked away. No, they did not. Moms do not keep comic books. They throw them away because it's
Yep.
just paper. And you're too old to read those funny books anyway.
Yep.
I don't know. When I went through my mom's things, all I found were Beanie Babies, and they are not worth anything. But I knew they existed there already, and whatever comics I found in her stuff were mine already that I'd left. So, when I moved out.
Yep.
But again, it's just, I mean, it's a great story, but
It's just
I've
not a
learned on this
believable one.
I've learned on this I've learned on this channel. There are so many great stories, and that's all they are
Yep.
stories.
It-
I just don't know if I could see that condition if somebody put it in a safe at some point, but
An
who's going to put
attic.
a comic book in the safe,
Yep.
and in an attic? In an attic
No.
since when? That's the thing. Since when was that person a collector and kept it in the attic on purpose? Or I don't know.
and
I don't
we
know.
had forgotten about the Action number 1 that was 8.5, which sold for 6 million last year.
Ah. Huh.
But we knew about that. We just forgot because it's not important. It's actually not important how much a copy of an old comic is. They try to make it important, and then we forget about it.
Captain Infinity says, "Ooh, I still do have my original comic book run of Electra Assassin. I'm going to send it to my mom to throw it in the garbage."
You should have gotten rid of this, Mom. Look what you've done to me.
TGIF peeps, we made it, says Missing Mars.
Aye.
To be real, my grandmother kept Valentine cards from her students circa 1930s that I had. She was 100% a throwaway. That paper. Sentimental. I can understand she has Valentine cards from her students.
Right.
But
My
there is a
mother
connection there.
notoriously threw out comic books.
Yeah.
So it had to survive paper drives. It had to survive the typical mom throwing out the comics. It had to survive sitting in an attic. I'm going to guess it wasn't bagged and board.
Yeah, she forgot she had them.
Maybe I've done when I was younger, I did odd jobs for people and helped clean out like the attic and stuff like that, and I found a cigar box full of coins. I'm
Coins people keep.
Right, because it's money, it's physical, but it's like I found stuff like that. I think I found the blueprints to the person's home that she was like, "Oh yeah, there's money up there all over the place," and it's like I could see that. But everything that I saw were stuff that someone would have kept and forgotten, but there was a sentimental reason to keep it.
I've
Everything
got a
else is fairly
little
organized.
I've got a little random box of coins that my friend gave me. Could be worth $1 million. Odds are it's worth nothing. But I just have a random box of coins. Tiny, not big, old coins.
My dad has a large collection of coins. A lot of them were loose change that he kept from when he was in the merchant navy. So they might be scarce locally because it's sort of like a Malaysian coin,
right?
And then you're in Guatemala or something. You're a Guatemalan coin collector. You probably don't have Malaysian pennies. But even then, there's not many people interested in Malaysian pennies in Guatemala.
Right.
So it's a nice collection, but it's not worth that much.
Yeah, I'm just like amazed, as I said when we started this counterfeit conversation a few weeks ago, that it's never even a thought in anybody's head I've ever seen in the comic book community that this might be a counterfeit comic. It's like never even a thought in anyone's head because no one knows, no one thinks it's ever been done, which it may never have been done. We don't know.
Yeah, we
Or
have no idea.
it may have been done and we don't know it.
It may have been done decades ago to be
Yeah.
put into an attic.
Yeah.
So it can naturally age a little bit,
Right.
if it was made maybe 10 years ago.
Counterfeiters know how to age things. That's their
Yeah.
job.
Mhm.
I would have to, like I said, if you can counterfeit money, you could probably counterfeit a comic book.
Yeah.
It's just instead of, one greenback plate of money, it's 64 plates.
I would guess, and then I have nothing to back this up with, but I would guess the problem with counterfeiting a comic book is just what we just saw, is that a comic book could be counterfeited, but there's going to be so much attention to it when it pops up. Where money, you're kind of hiding the money within the circulation.
Yeah, but people
Uh,
pay a lot more attention to counterfeit money than counterfeit comic
no,
books.
and I understand that.
There's
But
a whole treasury department that will hunt you down. Have you
right,
counterfeit a comic book?
maybe no one's going to come after you, or maybe we have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Now, whoever bought this comic is not going to crack it open to find
No.
out if it's real
Nope.
or not.
No.
That
And they'd have no
book,
way of telling if it's real. No one would have any way of telling if it's real or not.
right?
You would have, at best, you would have to compare it to one you know is authentic. And if you can make it real enough, which you could,
Right.
probably, how could anyone ever tell?
Very true. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we can tell at all because again, the
Let's see.
technology exists to do it.
Easier to counterfeit a comic or a pulp magazine? A pulp magazine, because you just have to counterfeit type.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
easier to counterfeit. Carbon dating.
Yeah.
Carbon dating doesn't work on something
No.
so young.
Yeah.
Carbon dating, I forget what the cutoff date for carbon dating is, but it's hundreds of years.
Yeah.
Yeah, all that'll tell us is that it was made within the last 100 years, which can mean yesterday or 100 years ago.
So let's ask.
And even at
The
Marvel, we printed reprints, and they got people thought they were the real thing because everything was real except for the back ad of
Yeah.
one of the books. The rest of it, stayed pretty much the same. It was just the only way you could tell that was that
Right.
it wasn't a vintage book, that it was a reprint, was because of the ad on the back of the book. So it even fooled experts until they saw the back page.
Right.
So, and again, it's one of those things where it probably is easier to make a book and just say, yeah, this is the original.
Hmm. Meanwhile, I was showing off these before we. This is Ice Cream Man deck of cards. That's a comic.
Oh, I think you mentioned that before.
Yes, I mentioned that I was getting these. So each card is a panel in the story. Some are made to look like Magic the Gathering cards. Some are made to look like special cards, whereas that's a dark Magic the Gathering card border. This one is made to look like a divorce lawyer's card because the character needs a divorce lawyer in it. We have got where is it? Oh, that one's a credit card.
Nice.
Because part of the story, the credit card is needed. The ice cream man is the king of spiders. That's part of the story. There's an Uno card, or should I say Spanish 1 game, they call it. An Uno reverse card where the story reverses when you hit this card. Then a few cards later.
Uno is a trademark. You can't use it.
Right, that's why they call it one in Espanol.
Amazing.
Yeah. Carbonating is not useful for anything that's younger than 300 years.
There we go.
And it's not, and you can't use it for anything that's older than 55,000 because that's the half-life of carbon-14.
Mm-hmm. The only thing, I wonder if you could measure, there is, I don't know how it's used. There's an atomic date where you can figure out where something was made before or after the first atomic explosion. I forget how it works. But things made before, or I should say things dug out of the ground, I think it is, before the first atomic explosion. Everything that came after the first atomic explosion has a little bit of radiation to it. And they can measure that.
It's not just that. You can tell when anything happened after the Industrial Revolution.
Probably that too. But I don't know if that affects like individual, like the atomic definitely gets into us. I think I don't know how they met. I forgot. I know the atomic one exists. I don't know about the Industrial Revolution one. If it affects like the bones of things. I don't know if it would affect a comic book. I don't know if it would affect paper or how you could measure it in paper.
I would guess maybe, I don't know if it would be any difference, would be testing the paper's fibers itself, because the pulp paper would be different.
Well, we're assuming you could get paper of the time because that's what you do. That's right. That's what forgers do, is they get paper of the time.
Right. So to get paper of the time, they would have to get the ink, and old new stock exist. It'd just be really hard to try to figure out.
I don't think it would be that hard with $9 million on the line.
Yeah.
Well, at least I think that would make it easier.
Yeah. I mean, let's suppose that a guy has like 50 pounds of 1930s paper stashed away.
Right.
How much would he be willing to sell it for?
You might be able to find it like in an old, it might be a crime of opportunity too. You find the paper in an old barn, or you know where the paper is and someone's just getting rid of it. I would imagine. I don't know where you'd go to find the paper. I would imagine, I think it would have to be of opportunity, unless, once again, you can figure out a way to bleach old newsprint so you can reprint on it. Like find another less valuable Golden Age comic, bleach out all the color. We know Theekson did it. And somehow left the black in there too, but I imagine you want to bleach the black out and then print on it. So that could be an option too. Did I miss the peep show of the Ice Cream Man playing cards? You did. My city's. Now we're talking about how that Superman #1 that just sold for $9 million could be a counterfeit. We have no evidence to base it on, but you know.
Not at all. We're just speculating here.
Just the fact that it's a 9.0 that's been in an attic for 80 years makes me suspicious.
Was it in something? It had to be inside something, in a box or something, for it to stay so pristine.
Like I said, I've had those comics Jerry gave me that are from the 90s out in the garage for 5 years, and they look a million years old now. The paper has really browned. I don't know. They could have been browned before I got them, but I think they've been browned from sitting out in the garage for 5 years too. Oh, by
Right.
the way,
And the heat and the cold and the heat and the cold.
yeah,
Yeah.
which is exactly what happens in an attic.
Unless
Attic
it
and
was a
garage,
nice,
same thing,
if it was a
not
nice
climate controlled.
attic.
But like I said, I've been giving away those comics to my students, and some of the students are comics fans, some of them aren't. Some of them just take them just for the heck of it. They decorate their dorms with them. So this week I gave them some comics, and they tear the pages out to pin them up on their dorms or whatever, do whatever with them. So this week they're actually tearing the pages out in class for the first time. And I was just like, I mean, these are worthless 90s comics.
But still, there's
But
just
still, I'm like, I'm flinching every time I hear that tearing sound. And then pass them to the next person to tear out pages. Let's see here. I inherited old paper from my pop that was from the 1940s, a whole ream of it. I sold it years back for $20. That's what I think might happen. I have got. Matter of fact, I actually used some of it. Let me see.
Now I need to know how much of a printer from that time. I am really interested in committing a felony
for science.
For science.
You write it down. It's for science.
For science. Do not commit felonies unless it's for science.
I needed some 11 by 17 paper to make these sort of drawings on. And I was like, I don't want to use my good paper. Then I remembered out in the garage, once again from Jerry, gave me this use for paste up only Marvel paper.
Yep. I still have a few of those.
So this is from the 90s when we used to do hand paste up, and Marvel needed paper to do hand paste up on. It's not as good as the drawing paper, but it's still good paper.
Yeah.
It did this just fine. But I was like, I've got this. There might be somebody with a whole bunch of old paper sitting around from the 40s that they printed comics on. You never know. Or, like I said, figure out a way to bleach another comic. It could be done. You have to teach those kids how to use a staple remover. Yeah. I sold it to an anthropology lab for science. All right. As a noted scientist, I was a bit surprised that the girl blinded me with science.
Science?
You will do that comic for science.
We're only doing this for science, not for profit.
Yeah, we're just saying, can it be done?
Yeah,
we can do it.
It's also part of the science. See if we can con people into buying.
To giving us $9 million.
Yeah, $9 million for science. That's what we'll use it for.
So you're using old school Marvel stuff that a collector might want for drawing? Yeah, some of it. But like I said, this isn't actually the Marvel drawing paper. It's the Marvel paste up paper. So it's tougher to ink on.
Yeah.
But I still do have some of the like Marvel cover stock that I don't really want to draw on. Just like
I know what you mean. It's like there's this kind of like this is just a neat thing to have.
Right.
And there's been plenty of times where I'll find something that's like, oh, I have more than one of these. I'll toss it up on eBay and it'll sell. Just because it has the Marvel logo on it. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, if it's Marvel paper, I kind of want to draw on it myself. But it's like I only have very few pages left.
I'm guessing technically it would be rarer than drawing paper.
But also less interesting.
Yeah.
It's, you got to be really a hardcore. They're out there, but it's finding that, because I'll sit on your eBay store for a very long time before that one person who
LSD chemistry for science.
You have to be a paper enthusiast.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, I have. I haven't tried to sell these, but I'll show you something that I do have. That is like, oh, found these at some point. Must have brought them home, or they were sent home to me, because occasionally I'll be going through boxes of stuff and find something that like I have. So I have a Marvel sheet of paper, a couple of reams actually, of like the original. I don't know if that's going to pop up, but here is a Marvel
Oh,
regular
okay.
paper,
Yeah.
from the old address.
Note paper, like Marvel stationery. There we go.
Yes, it's stationary. And it's like, but I don't have an envelope, and I don't have, or actually, I do have some of the envelopes now that I think about it. But it's kind of neat to have that,
Yeah.
and occasionally, like I've used it once or twice before to when I sold some artwork. The person's like, could you write something that stated that you made this artwork that was published in Marvel? I was like, all right. So I took one of those pages and write to who it may concern. This is the proof that I worked on this, blah, blah, blah. And I put it on Marvel stationery because it's just a little more fun. And there's been occasions where I thought, I should write a letter on that and send it to a friend of mine where it's like, you know, to so and so from Stan Lee, F you, because I think it would be just funny. Because there's like one friend in my group who would appreciate that so much because he could not stand Stan. He was a person that loved Jack Kirby to the point where it's insane how much he loved Jack. So completely hated Stan. And it's like, it would be funny to send him that particular letter, but it would have been funnier if Stan was still alive to send a letter that just says, F you, Stan.
I just realized I have some blank Marvel mechanical paper too, which was the paper in the early 90s before we went digital. If they were putting out some kind of trade paperback, you had to make a mechanical to go along with that trade paperback. And all a mechanical is something for them to look at to go, oh, what? Page 1 goes here and page 2 goes here. So what we'd have to do, all of the printing would be done from film. Like these mechanicals wouldn't be used for anything but for the printer to look at. So it would be a piece of paper usually that can fit 2 comic book pages side by side on it. So it's somewhere around that big by that big, with blue line on it to show you where all the trim marks are and stuff like that. And we would either have to get sometimes the whole book would be statted, but a lot of times it would just be Xeroxed.
Yes.
So each page of this 144 page trade paperback, we'd have to get 144 Xeroxes for. Run them through the waxer, because that's what you used in those days. A waxer was just this machine that was about that wide and had this reservoir down the bottom of wax that you turned on. It heated up the element, melted the wax, and it had a roller. So you put the paper through the roller and the wax would transfer onto the back of the paper, and you'd stick that down on the mechanical board, and the wax would then keep the paper in place. That's what a waxer was in the olden days. So we would have to you'd end up with like 144. That's what 72 sheets of that big paper and all it would be was looked at the printer and go, oh, we got that page right. Oh, we got that page. And then they'd throw them out.
Yes.
But I have some of those blank boards sitting in the back room somewhere. I was like, oh, I'd forgotten about those. Took them home because Marvel was like, hey, anybody want some of this paper? And I actually did some inking on that because that paper is like got such a coating on them. So you can put like a razor sharp ink line on it because that ink ain't moving.
Right.
It's such a glossy coated surface. So I did a little drawing on some of those, but I haven't pulled it out in a while. I'm gonna have to pull them out and see what they look like. I don't even remember. See what the markings on them are.
It wasn't until like halfway through your story I realized, oh, I know exactly what paper that is.
Yeah. Now you remember it.
Now I remember, because it had the double sides on it. It had the numbering system on it. And when you first started talking about it, I thought you were talking about the layout grid. that we
Right.
used to have as well, which was a bunch of the same thing but shrunk down, and
Yes,
you know, the editors will write what's going, you know,
right.
what each page
Not
is
bad.
going to be. Yeah. Ah,
Yep.
we went through so much paper
Oh, yes.
before, you know, before going over to the computers. And we were one of the last companies I would, well, probably not, but we did take a long time to switch over to computers.
Yeah. DC took even longer.
Yeah. And I think
Mhm.
Archie even took longer than that.
Yeah. Let's see. Tit Goblin says, I also inherited a ton of giant 3-hold pink paper. That's kind of note paper quality and saw the same in a library years back. I'm guessing it was a shitty printer's test paper or something. Bright pink. Okay. I have a vague memory of some pink papers I've seen over the years. I don't know what part of the process it was used in, though.
Yeah, I don't I mean, it sounds familiar. Pink paper, tree hole punch. Those had to be specialty for some particular thing that no longer is done anymore. You
And
know.
speaking of cards, I got one more Spider-Man Magic the Gathering card,
Oh yeah.
and it's Spider-Man Noir.
Very cool.
Yeah, I just thought it was a cool, it cost like $1.50. I can't even remember. But I just thought it was a fun card to add to the 2 others that I got. When I'm
That doesn't
bored
look
and want to
too
buy
much.
something.
You've never
Was
read
that?
Spider-Man Noir, right? That
No, I've
doesn't
never
look.
read it.
That doesn't look much like Spider-Man Noir
Oh no, I haven't. I think this is Spider-Man Noir from the movie.
from the movie, of
Yeah,
course.
that's what he kind of looks like now, and they kind of adapted that look.
Yeah. Looks like it's an uncommon.
Because when Marvel did those Noir comics, I bought all of them.
Ah. Spider-Man's got a hat, it looks like, too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Huh.
Yeah, it's basically Spidey in the 30s, and you know,
And
he's going to have that pulpy kind of look.
and he's an asshole.
Absolutely.
So I got Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Man Brooklyn Visionary, and Spider-Man 2099 are the 3. I don't have regular Spider-Man yet. I'll have to look. When I'm bored and want to buy something for $1.50, those are one of the things I
Right.
can get. You know what's funny? After spending all that money getting back those Walking Deads that I sold years ago, issues 3 through 50, there's one issue I still need, number 10, which I bought and the guy never sent, so I had to get my money back.
Right.
But it's like I just don't feel like spending the money on that last issue. I'm just like, yeah, kind of broke. I don't want to spend it. And like the last one, and I think my final tally was up around $1,400 I spent. And I'm like,
Right.
I don't want to spend that last $60. I'm just like, I'm out of money. Especially buying those markers and that car bill I got. I'm like, What is Walking Dead? The one I got was for about $40, but they didn't send it. But like it can go anywhere from, let me see, what was my estimate on it? Let me check my notes. Where's my Walking Dead notes? My estimate on it was around $40. That's what I ended up paying for the one I never got. But now I notice it's gone up a little bit. It's creeped up from $40, or at least people are asking more. I haven't checked sold prices because more around 50. But you can also get like CG seed ones anywhere from $100 to $700. People are asking. I'm thinking I'm going to spend around 50 on it, but I just don't want to. Somehow I got all the other issues. It made me feel good. Somehow getting this last one isn't going to make me feel any better. So I'll let it sit there for a while. Unpurchased. Like,
Now,
you know how sometimes you want that last issue to fill in? Now I'm like, whatever. I'll get it someday.
No,
it's like
or
the
you could have
problem.
just bought the omnibus.
I could just what?
But you could have just bought the omnibus.
I'll get that when I want to read it. When they come out with a new color one. I was planning on getting because when they came out with the Walking Dead color version, which has been coming out for a few years now, they were like, we're not going to print a Walking Dead in color for a long time, so you may as well buy these comics. And I was like, And I was like, you know what? I was thinking about, buying them, saying to myself, you know what? I could re-experience reading The Walking Dead month to month again in color. I might be, that might be fun. But then instead of being $3, it made it a $4 book. I was like, especially it was like you're gonna reprint the whole series at a higher price I'm like, everybody's already been paid for this book. It's a hit. You don't need uh, a $4. And this is like years ago when books were still $3. Some books were still $3. I was
Right.
like, And then they were like, it's coming out twice a month. I'm like, $8 a month on Walking Dead. And I did the math. $8 a month for 100 issues is $800. $8 a month for another 100 issues is $1,600. And I was like, you know what? For that price, I could probably buy back the ones I'm missing. So I just did the math, and I was like, and there's no way when an omnibus comes out, it's going to cost $1,600 to buy all the Walking Dead omnibuses. I was like, nah, don't think I'll do that. And you know what's crazy is, who is it? Don the Comic Book Junkie. Like I said, I've watched his videos for years. Guy lives in Florida. And he collects kind of in bulk. He's not into key issues. He's not into expensive comics. He's into buying like as many comics as he can. I think his collection is up to like 40,000 comics or something. He'll go to the flea market and buy $100 books. That's sort of his collecting style. And he'll buy some alternate covers and things. But he's been buying not only the Walking Dead color series, but all 4 covers for the Walking Dead. And I'm just like, ooh, that's a lot of money. I think he makes a decent living though, so he can afford it. Don't worry about him not being able to afford it. But I'm just like, well, I did my $1,600, $1,500 estimate of. I'm like, that's 4 times $1,500. That's $6,000. That's a lot of money to spend on that Walking Dead series. Yeah.
Charging that much for to 2 books a month, they could have easily slashed that price, and it would have sold more.
That's not collecting. That's hoarding. Yes. Yes. All year I've been buying lots of Charlton comics from the 70s for half the price per new comics. Yeah. New comics are not cheap, but I like them still. Got 6 of them this week. Plus a trade paperback and this deck of cards. I bought a trade paperback at the comic shop. Any idea what the next omnibus you're going to buy is? I don't buy a lot of omnibuses these days. I got that Sigil one no, what I've been doing is the last omnibuses I got were the 2 cross-gen ones. Robert Kirkman thanks him. Yeah. Were the 2 cross-gen ones I got last year. I got Sigil, and this year I got it's right back there, Mystic. The next omnibus that's kind of on my radar, and I bought them both with my credit card points because it's like I'll save up my credit card points for something. I have my eye on The Warlord by Mike Grell, Omnibus Volume 1, hardcover for 2026. I liked the Mike Grell Warlord, but about, I don't know what it is now, anywhere between 5 to 10 years ago, I decided to give my Warlords a reread. I had like Warlord maybe from issue 40 to when Mike Grell left drawing it at least. So maybe 20, 30 issues of Warlord. I don't remember. It was good stuff. And I reread those and then went, I'm never going to read these again.
Yeah.
And I gave them to my friend who's a Warlord. He wanted to read them again. So he's like, oh, I'll take them. I'm like, sure, here you go. Here's the Warlord. So the only reason I wouldn't get a white Mike Grell Warlord omnibus is because I have no interest in ever reading Warlord again, even though it was a good series. I'm Warlorded. I was like, you know what? I'm satisfied. I don't need to read Mike Warlord again. But the one I do have on that I might save up my credit card points for, we'll see, because sometimes. Like I think I saved up credit card points for that. Where is it? The Hate box set about 3 times over about 5 years, and I never bought it because sometimes I have a hard time spending more. Hate's one of my favorite series. I love it, but I have all the original issues. I have trade paperbacks of it. I really wanted the hardcover omnibus of it, but I was like. I still haven't reread it in the omnibus form. So sometimes I have trouble double dipping on stuff. Not always, but sometimes. But the next omnibus I want to get is the Planetary omnibus. But it would be a double dip. I have all the issues. So it's like, do I really want to get it? I don't know. But it's not an expensive one. It's like $40 to $60. So it really shouldn't be that much of a stretch for me to get it, but still, and I think I have $30 in credit card points saved up, but I don't know if I'll actually get it. It's been decades since I read John Sable Freelance. Yeah, I still have my issues on my shelf. I went to reread it years ago, and I was like, ooh, this isn't really that good. And my reread didn't last long.
I think it still is that good. Because I've only read it when I was 30.
No, it wasn't good. The art wasn't as good as I remembered it. That really was the only thing. I think I just looked through them more than I read it. So maybe I'll like it better because I liked it back then. I bought all the issues.
Yeah, the art. It's not that the art gets worse; it's that the art gets predictable by issue 30 something. So halfway.
Mike Grell really didn't draw as well as I remembered him drawing. There's a lot of mistakes in Mike Grell's drawing.
It's not mistakes. It's
I don't know whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of weird things.
It's on purpose. Is not drawing. He managed to convince people that he draws realistically. He does not. No. There's a lot of dreamscaping there.
I think he convinced me he drew realistically. And then when I went to reread it, I was like, ooh. Yeah, 62 got Planetary Omni for under 50 ship. Yeah, so it's not an expensive omnibus, but still I'm like...
because John Sable Freelance has a lot of flashbacks.
Yeah.
And this allowed Grell to do dreamscapes.
Okay.
Because he all of a sudden he's reminiscing, and the art style changes.
Yeah, I don't even think I was looking at that stuff. I was just looking at his figure drawing more than anything.
But the figure drawing is good, especially the action scenes.
It's not as good as I remembered it. I remember him being better but now I'm remembering a memory that's a memory. So I would have to actually look at it. It's like my opinion on it really has expired because I don't think I've looked at it in 10 years.
Mike Grell is the guy that draws like Neil Adams, but he's somehow convinced people that he draws like Frank Frazetta.
He
But he
doesn't
doesn't.
even draw as much as like Neil Adams as I remembered. I remember that.
No, he does. The thing
he does
what
not
people
nearly.
remember.
Like, Bill Sienkiewicz does a better Neil Adams than Neil Adams. I always thought.
Yeah.
Didn't Mike Grell didn't do a better Neil Adams than Neil Adams. That's all. Yeah.
No, because he can do dreamscapes and Neil Adams can't.
That's true.
But what people remember from Mike Grell is that he has beautiful drawings, and he doesn't. He doesn't do beautiful drawings.
Yeah. DC Universe Bronze Age Omnibus by Jack Kirby. It's another one I'm eyeing in 2006, 2026 even. Yeah, I haven't heard of that one yet. And what's
Bronze Age? So that would be the two loser stories, the magazines.
Shade the Changing Man. That
was Ditko.
Oh, that's right, Ditko.
That was Ditko, yeah.
Shade the Changing Man is now one of my favorite Ditko comics. I was like, I was just happening to be looking through it again. I was surprised. I'd never read Shade the Changing Man until a few years ago. I mentioned it in the show back then, but it really is one of my favorite Ditko comics now. I never would have thought that. Not being a fan of 70s DC in general and stuff like that. Let's see. Oh, here we go. The Days of the Mob 1-2, Spirit World 1, Weird Mystery Tales 1-3, Demon 1-16, Sandman 1-6, OMAC, One Man Army Corps. I love that. 1-8, Our Fighting Forces. That's the losers. Superpowers and Superpowers Volume 2.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought it would be. I'm surprised that they have Demon in there because Demon is the type of stuff that fits into a large trade paperback.
Well, all this stuff has already been printed on its own in omnibus.
Yeah. The Days of the Mob, they did a special.
Right. I think I have edition. That. I have Spirit World, which is published with like a pillow.
Yeah.
In the front of it.
I have the Demon trade. I have the OMAC trade, and the Weird Mystery Tales stories, the Sandman stories, the Our Fighting Forces stories, and the losers, which doesn't appear to be here. These are there's a trade paperback of all of those. The Superpowers don't have a trade paperback as far as I'm aware.
Captain Infinity says, my memory of reading John Sable Freelance is probably so unreliable, faded and dreamy that it'd be drawn by Mike Grell. Me too. Like my attempted reread of it is faded now too. So it's completely unreliable. Tomorrow's out. Mike Grell, Life is Drawing Without an Erasers book. Okay. The Solicitor was released today. The Demon stuff is also getting DC Finest. All right. That's cool. All right. TPP of Forever People too. And I really enjoyed, I've sold mine since that Jack Kirby Fourth World omnibuses where they printed them all together in order. Mm-hmm. So you'd read an issue of Forever People, an issue of not Superman.
Yeah, so I have the 4 volumes. The first one, because there's more Jimmy Olsen before the actual New Gods
right. So it starts with the Jimmy Olsen stuff.
Yeah, right. There's more Jimmy Olsen on the first one. Then they kind of all he leaves Jimmy Olsen in order to have the other 3 books, and then everything gets canceled except for Mr. Miracle, and Mr. Miracle keeps going. So the last volume is mostly Mr. Miracle, but it ends with the graphic novel. The Hunger Dogs.
Right. First time that's the first time when those came out. That was the first time I read all that stuff together. I'd only read bits and pieces of it before then. So you get to read the Fourth World as it came out, rather than in separate books. I thought that I really enjoyed reading it that way.
Yeah, back in 98 or 99, DC had put out black and white collections.
I have those. I was just about to mention them.
Yeah, I have only have the New Gods one, which I'm probably selling.
And you know what they did? They're pretty terrible to look at because it's not like they took the black plate and then colorized it in black and white. They just took one of the I don't know which plate they took. Maybe the cyan plate, maybe the magenta plate, and they just printed that as black and white.
I
So
remember
like the
that.
gray doesn't make any sense whatsoever. It's just it's almost random
It
because
is random.
it's
And the
one of the color plates.
and the reason for that is that there's the famous collage page with Metron,
Ah,
which they needed to print because it's a collage, it doesn't you can't get rid of it. You can't just print from the black and white because otherwise the collage is not there.
no, I think the reason for that is cheapness. It wasn't a creative choice. It was a cheapness choice. We got to print this in black and white, or it's not
Yeah,
getting printed.
probably, which is kind of funny. Well, it's not kind of funny. DC had an active trade paperback department,
Right. It
but they were
shows you how little respect and sales they had for the Jack Kirby stuff.
right. Exactly. The collected editions existed mainly for Vertigo,
Mm-hmm.
and anything that was DCU
Right.
was published incidentally. So they were doing the Grant Morrison JLA, but everything else was mostly Vertigo. Then they had Watchmen, they had a few of the events. Doing the Kirby stuff was new for them.
Yeah.
They probably had no idea how to market it,
No.
and by that time they hadn't even done the New Teen Titans. They done Judas Contract, but not the rest of
Right.
the New Teen
People,
Titans.
I would say,
Nothing had been printed.
people don't remember how sort of not well thought of Jack Kirby's work was in the 90s, especially in general. Especially his DC work was not thought of particularly high. I don't mean by like artists and things. I mean by like DC executives who were making those decisions.
Right.
They didn't think of Jack Kirby's work at all.
And even the general audience, they had to be convinced that
Yeah.
Kirby was worth it.
Right. I always found that interesting.
I know because I remember we had a group of Portuguese fans that we all met online when the internet became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anybody who was into comics growing up.
Right.
I knew 4 people, but I only knew about 2 of them at a time. So when I went online, we all of a sudden we all met. And one day we decided to go up north to do a general meetup. And during the car ride, I, the youngest of the group of people going up, was the only one who liked Kirby.
Yeah. I can believe that. In the 70s, I know when I was a kid, a lot of people like I knew people who collected comics. None of them liked Kirby. He's too blocky. I remember one friend even said, "Oh, he'd probably draw Captain America's shield as a square." I was just like, "What?" I
And you
could
know what the
see
funny
it, but it didn't affect me.
it was a short while after that I picked up the Golden Age of Marvel trade paperback.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it has a couple of Kirby Captain America stories inside from the 40s.
Yeah.
And there's nothing blocky about 1940s Kirby.
No.
Those things were horror stories.
The thing that really sold me on Kirby was Marvel's greatest superhero battles.
Mm.
The Iron Man and Submariner story, where the first part of the story was by Gene Colan. Well, I was kind of liked. I'm not back then I was not the biggest Gene Colan fan, but I liked Gene Colan's Tomb of Dracula or whatever. But then the second half of the story was by Kirby. And it was all a fight scene.
Mm.
So it was like I was like, wow. The difference between Gene Colan and Jack Kirby was was never more explicit as in that that Submariner versus Iron Man comic. It was just like what Kirby's fight scenes just blew him out of the water. And that's when I was like, oh, I get it now. I see the difference in storytelling. That's when I was like, I don't know, 10 or 11. I get it. I see what Kirby's doing something different than Colan.
Yeah.
Something more exciting. One of the comics I got this week, which I couldn't figure out why I got it. Erotech or erotic #1. But then I saw this featuring AI Joe, created by Dean Haspiel. I was like, oh, that's why I got
That's
it.
why.
It's got some art in it. But, and Dean only has 2 pages. And I'll probably buy next issue for Dean's 2 pages. And the rest of it was all right. It's a mature comics one, but it does not really. I would not call it erotic in the least. There's some scenes that, are R-rated movie at best, but it's real office tales of cyber love. That's what it is. It's about it's more of a corporate comic. It's the story of a company that's trying to get a sex doll out the door. And the only sort of erotic parts is they have like a guy who works in the mailroom who they've hired to help them test the sex doll. So he's in this, bedroom set with the sex doll, and they're all watching him with equipment. In the very beginning, the sex doll manufactures and nearly rips his penis off. So it's not really that erotic. And then the rest of it is sort of a corporate story. It's them trying to, there's, the woman trying to get it out the door. This other guy who she's working with who really doesn't like her and is sabotaging it a little bit. They're getting a new manager who's coming in to cut costs. So the rest of it is a straightforward sort of corporate story. That was pretty well done. I mean, it was entertaining. And then Dean's 2 pages are about a patriotic robot that's going to fight the Soviet patriotic robot, who's AI Joe. So I guess he's a G.I. Joe AI robot. But we'll see. He only got 2 pages. But I enjoyed it. Like I said, but I was like, why did I get this? Because sometimes I do that. I order things, like a month ago, and then I'm like, why did I order that? I'm like, Dean Haspiel, I see now. Dino's got a story in here. But it was okay. Solidly okay.
You did not pick up on Youngblood #1.
I still did. I looked at it again this week and was like, should I pick up a Youngblood #1 just for yucks and ha-has? And I was like, nah.
Well, it's not for the yucks. There's a thing about. I mean, I was aware of it, but I hadn't really thought about it. Is that I'm still here. Oh, I think I froze. Did I freeze?
No, you're still moving.
Okay.
I can hear you.
Okay. Rob has a way of doing scenes, which is he has the predictable surprise.
Mm-hmm.
When you have the bad guy pointing a gun at the good guy, the next page, an ally of the good guy is going to come up from behind and shooting the bad guy in the back. And that has happened every single time since 1990.
I wouldn't know. I haven't read enough Rob Liefeld comics. But we'll see.
But
it's there next
there.
I would also get the one with the card in it too. That's polybagged. Because why not?
Yeah, if you're going to go for one of those, go for the one that was basically, he might just be reprinting his Youngblood's #1.
I think he did that already. I think he already did that, and this is a new Youngblood number. He already put out Youngblood #1 Deluxe Edition,
Oh,
which
okay.
was an updated version of Youngblood #1.
Yeah,
Now this, I think, is a new series, Youngblood.
This is a new series. This is a new story. Supreme's in it. Of course, there
Okay.
was no Supreme in Youngblood #1,
I
but he did the deluxe version of the first 4 issues.
first 4, okay.
Yeah, and it's not printed in the same order. Because remember that that Youngblood started as a flip book.
Okay.
It was the home team and the away team,
Ah.
and it kind of managed to weave the stories together more effectively now.
So he integrated the 2 stories, so it's
Yeah.
not a flip book.
Mhm.
All right.
But then Prophet shows up anyway, like in the original run.
Yeah.
That was what Rob.
How did he get?
That was Rob when Rob compares himself to Kirby. He's actually right in a manner of speaking, because he's always introducing new characters,
Yeah.
and he does that a lot in Youngblood.
I was just wondering. I didn't hear how he got the rights to Youngblood back. Did you hear that?
I don't think he did. There's a Platinum Studios logo in the credits page.
So is he licensing it? I wonder.
I guess he came to an agreement with Scott Mitchell Rosenberg.
Okay. Okay. Because I know that
Probably Rosenberg was interested too, because Youngblood's not a hot property anymore, and
Right.
the only way you get people interested in it, let's get Rob back. I mean,
but Rob's. I remember Rob always tweeted he would not be doing Youngblood as long as that guy owned it.
he got money.
Yeah.
I mean, money's a good.
Yeah, money's a good motivator.
Changed his
He
mind.
also said he'll never work for Marvel again,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and he's come back and work for Marvel again. Now he'll never work. He's retired from Marvel.
I
So
think he's
what does he
retired
have?
from Deadpool. Is he retired from Marvel or Deadpool?
You know what? I don't know.
I remember him saying he's retired from Deadpool.
Yeah, but
maybe he's
not
dead Marvel. I don't know.
He's not going to get if anybody at Marvel wants him back, it's not to do anything with Moon Knight.
Right.
It's with X-Force and Deadpool.
It must be retired from Marvel, because I think I remember him writing that he realizes he's only got so many years and projects left in him. So he doesn't want to do Marvel stuff. He wants to do his own stuff. Which makes sense.
Sure, but what else does he still have that he can work on? I mean, if he creates a new character now, it's not going to reach any critical mass with the readership.
Don't ask me what he wants to do.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But when it comes to doing Youngblood, yeah, just throw money at him and he'll do it.
Yeah.
For the reason why Scott Mitchell Rosenberg, he's not dumb. He knows that there's really no interest. It's not like he can get he could get Tom King or Daniel Warren Johnson. They wouldn't be interested in working on Youngblood.
I have no doubt he wants Liefeld back. I just remember Liefeld saying he'd never go there while he didn't own it.
No, it was the other guy. It was the other guy. It was the other guy, the one from Comico.
I don't know. I remember the story was Rob said, I forget which guy is which, but one of Rob's creative partners convinced him to put Youngblood and a couple other things in a creative package, and I think Rob owned part of it and this other guy owned part of it, and they were making deals together, but then the other guy sold his part of the package to someone else, and all of a sudden Rob didn't have control of it anymore, nor was it his buddy who was So he was all upset. So I think he may have still owned part of Youngblood, but he couldn't do anything with it without the other guy's plan too, or something like that. I don't remember how it went. But he lost control of his own character.
Right.
That was creator owned.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if it's how it's on the printed edition, but the digital edition doesn't have an indicia.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know what's the copyright status on that.
All right, now I'm gonna have to get an issue just to see.
Finally, you're buying Youngblood.
Finally, let's see.
The stories itself, it kind of looks like the last Deadpool story he did in like Major X at Marvel. So he's not innovating. The story's fun. It has those typical life tropes, but it's fun. So don't go looking for Brainy. It's Rob Liefeld.
Another fun one is Exquisite Corpses #7. All the assassins are fighting each other. It's okay. It's going 10 issues. This is the one where something like 10 families have been secretly running America since the 1700s. And every 4 years, they get together and wall off a small town. And every one of them sends their assassin in. And whichever one of the assassins survives wins, and that family gets to control America for the next 4 years. It's Michael Walsh and James Tynion IV are the writers, and Claire Rowe and with Michael Walsh are the artists. So I like Michael Walsh. I like James Tynion. This one's solid. It's not my favorite thing and this is I found it funny that this is the one that sort of had some mainstream success. My computer just shifted around for a second. This is the one that I see on the pull list videos on TikTok of people who have who buy mainstream comics buy this one. So I find it. I wonder why. Just makes me go, why does an indie book find some mainstream success and others don't? But I've been liking it, but I don't have a lot to say about it. It's not the deepest comic ever. It's just spy versus spy. Spy versus spy. What comics didn't you pick up this week, Wilson? Do you know?
Actually, I can look it up. And it's quite a bit of them too. Check my Midtown Comics app. I'll tell you exactly what books I didn't get this week, but will be waiting there for me.
That he can show us next week.
There was a new Godzilla of the Marvel Universe and a new Space Godzilla.
Okay.
All right. So what I would have gotten this week if I went would have been Amazing Spider-Man issue number 16.
Have you read any of them yet?
Not at all. Gotcha Man issue number 14.
Have you read any of those yet?
I would skim through those. I always look through them because I do like the artwork, but I haven't sat and read through them. G.I. Joe issue number 14. And I've been reading them off and on. Like I read 3 issues together, and then I haven't gone back for the previous issues or read them since. But I did read the one with CoverGirl and the Baroness, who's now a member of G.I. Joe, but no one trusts her. And they had a girl adventure type of thing. Let's see. Power Ranger Prime, issue number 12. Not a single issue has been read. And then I have Radioactive Spider-Man issue number 2.
Do you not remember getting
I
issue
don't even
number
remember
1?
putting that on the part of an Age of Revelation tie-in.
Do you remember getting issue 1?
I do not remember getting issue 1. I have a vague memory of putting it on the list because it was a new #1 issue, but I know I didn't read that. And then we have Godzilla, Starship Godzilla, issue #2, which issue #1 we did talk about.
Right.
That they took Mechagodzilla and they went out into space. So those are what would have been in my pull list. And then what I probably would have picked up off the rack, I do know that there was a new Godzilla versus the Marvel Universe, issue number either 5 or 6.
Mhm.
And I know actually it probably won't be out till January, but I believe there will be a facsimile edition of Superman versus Spider-Man,
Yeah.
reprinting the original.
A new one.
So the #1, so it'll be like the original cover. Then I think they're doing the Alex Ross cover
Okay.
and a foil cover. And then there's also going to be a blank cover to that. The only thing I don't know if that's going to be oversized or if they're going to print that comic book size because they've done both in the past.
Yeah. I think I've got the hardcover version. No, it's a hardcover of Superman versus Muhammad Ali I have. I think I have the original Superman versus Spider-Man. I don't think I ever bought a facsimile of it.
Yeah, I have those only in a trade paperback. I don't believe I have the original I can think of, but I do have like the reprints of it.
Friar TikTok is rereading Starman series from the 90s myself. Good stuff. That's the James Robinson and Tony Harris Starman, right?
That's
I think so.
When
Good
no,
evening.
when was the comic starring Will Payton? No, that's very interesting. No, that
That's
was
the
already
80s, right?
that still starts in the 80s, about 88, 89.
Yeah.
The Jack Knight series by James Robinson and Tony Harris starts in 94.
Just picked up issue 1 and needed to complete the series, which was annual #2. Yeah, I know that's one of Tim Howlermouse's favorites.
Mhm.
And I had never read it in the 90s. I read it when it came out in omnibus form. Must be 15 years ago now. I don't even know. Because I read it and really enjoyed it. I ended up selling it when it went out of print and raised up in price. And I've been thinking about getting it back again to reread it. Because I think it's out in trade paperback form now for cheaper. Because I think it was in 5 omnibuses. 4 or 5, maybe 5. But
those wouldn't be very big. I think it fit.
No, they were not the oversized omnibuses. They were the comic size omnibuses.
Oh, right. It was the TPB series that came out chronologically, because the original TPB series did not come out chronologically.
Ah.
And I have those.
But I think it was like that was the only place it was reprinted for a lot of years. And like volume 4 and 5, it was either volume 4 and 5 or volume 3 and 4 were like a couple $100 a piece. So I sold mine on eBay for a couple $100 a piece. I need the money.
Yeah, and then you spend it all buying back Who the Walking Dead.
Yep.
The vicious cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I sold so many of my Toy Biz figures years ago on eBay, and I've been slowly buying them back. The trick is to sell them at a high price and then get them back in lots.
Yeah.
And I've done pretty good with that.
Huh. Yeah, he says he's rereading the James Robinson, Tony Harris. Yeah. Currently, there are 2 volumes of Starman Compendium that covers the series. Yeah. I think those are the soft cover ones, I think. So that's what I was looking at, maybe getting to reread it again. We'll see. Probably the original issues aren't that expensive, I imagine.
Probably
That'd be a
not,
lot to
no.
track down.
Right. The series over 80 issues, and there's a couple of annuals and a couple of spin-offs.
And you can still get the like first two hardcovers. Yeah, all his are floppies and $36 each on in stock trades. Yeah, that's not bad. I don't usually buy from in stock trades, but I usually buy from eBay or Amazon. But occasionally I bought from it because, like, for in stock trades, you want to buy. I end up wanting to buy a bunch of stuff to cover shipping or something like that. You know what I was just looking up on eBay?
Mm-hmm.
How cheap a warlock oh my good Watchman. How cheap a Watchman trade paperback is.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are so many printings of Watchmen trade paperbacks and so many, hardcovers and special editions and this and that. I was like, because I don't have any copy of Watchmen anymore. And I was kind of like, hey, maybe I should get a copy just to look through. I don't actually want to read it. I just want to look through it. And I didn't get one, but maybe some. You can get a Watchmen trade paperback shipped off of eBay for $6.
Wow.
That's how many of them there are out there. I was like, whoa. From some used bookstore somewhere.
Talk about flooding the market.
Yeah.
How petty DC is.
And then I forgot this version of Watchmen existed. You can get a box set of Watchmen with each individual issue printed as a hardcover. So each individual issue is printed as a hardcover in a box set. And I think those were going for like $35 or $40. I don't know what they originally went for. But I was like, are you trying to come up with the most inconvenient way to read Watchmen?
Wait, if you had to buy Watchmen like that, would you be inclined to read the text pieces just to?
No.
Because you wasted all that money.
I would never be inclined to read. First of all, I'd never be inclined to read Watchmen, except in small bits. Like the last time I read Watchmen, I took the Absolute Edition out of the library like 5 years ago. And I just had it kicking around for a few weeks. And I'd pick it up and I'd flip through it and I'd read sequences of it. Because it's masterfully crafted. The artwork is beautiful and so well crafted. I'm just not interested in the story. So I'd flip through and I'd really enjoy reading a few pages and then I'd put it not even in order. I just find a few pages to look at and go, wow, that's really nice. And then put it down.
Interesting that you said it, because Dave Gibbons drew Watchmen in a superficially crude manner.
Mm-hmm.
So that it doesn't look flashy like a superhero story.
But it's so well drawn.
Of course.
Yeah. And the story is so well told. The layouts are so nice. But yeah, I couldn't actually read the thing again. Look through it, sure. Which is why I wanted to get the trade paperback version. I wanted to look through it. Speaking of that, maybe I should get the individual issues as hardcover. If all I'm going to do is look through it, doesn't matter how inconvenient it is to read.
Yeah, but now you can look through them and look through the text pieces.
Yeah.
There's art in the text pieces.
Yeah, I can look at the art, maybe even read a couple paragraphs in the text pieces.
Maybe.
There you go.
Because of them being individually hardcover, that does sound attracting to be able to sit down and just read the one book cover to cover, because you now have an experience on its own. And I think I would be inclined to read all the extra materials because of that.
There is definitely something attractive about it, but there is also something incredibly inconvenient about it. Yeah. If you want to sit down and read it from beginning to end, that's definitely not the version to get.
No, but to read it issue at a time,
right?
You take it out for the week,
right?
Read a little bit of it until you finish the whole thing and digest it, and then you have a whole month before you pull the next issue out.
Right. You just
You
leave it on yourself. Pull out an issue
Yeah.
when you feel like it.
Yeah, there's something attractive about that.
Yeah. Maybe I'll
I
get that.
completely agree with you. Inconvenient,
The
but
most
there's just
inconvenient
something
version.
about that just makes it seem kind of interesting enough to go, okay, maybe I would get that, especially to get the whole series for $30.
Yeah. Yeah. Not bad. Maybe I will go that way because I'm not a fan of the trade paperback of Watchmen in because trade paperbacks there's nothing great about trade paperbacks to begin with. They're just convenient.
Right.
I saw somebody praising those $10 small trades that DC's selling now. That he was like, oh, I loved it. I just bought one and read it on my commute in, and really, he's like, there's a great, it's a great convenience. And I was like, yeah, I think that is a great. I'll never buy one, but I think it's a fine format for people who want to read a self-contained story for $10 that they can put in their bag. I was like, yeah, I can understand being attracted to the convenience of it. I'm just not. Captain Infinity, I have all 3 editions of City of Glass, but they're all pretty much identical inside, black and white and small. I still have to get that, the collected edition. That's another one that's been on my wish list on Amazon for quite a while. Let's see, the new issue of Creepshow was out. Once again, I don't have a ton to say about Creepshow. It's a fun, you get 2 10-page stories. And I must say, we are really in the post-comic code era.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because the twist ending is just people die. There's no somebody has to learn a lesson. There's no the good guys have to win. There's not even necessarily good guy. Like this last story was just an old man and woman going to see a movie, a late night movie, and these teenagers harassing them. And it turns out the woman is a monster and she eats them. That's it. No one learns a lesson. No good guys win. No good guys in the story at all.
We need the code back.
But I like that. I like that. Because if you can remember years ago, when I first read, I think it was the Ditko pre-code horror stuff they came out with. And it was really the first time I'd ever read pre-code horror. And I was just like, wow, I can really see how different this is from post-code horror. Because much like this, there were no lessons. There was no good guy. There was just horrible things happened to horrible people. That was the story. Sort of like that one right there. And even on into like the early 2000s, the influence of the comics code could still be felt in horror stories because either A, you were doing the things you couldn't do in the comics code days, or B, you were trying to tell the story with a twist ending lesson. But it's like those days are over now, officially over. It's like, now we get horror stories that are just horror. Horror.
Yeah. I'm not sure. Well, even in the indies, you probably still had a few, even if you had to look for them. Actually, that was not one of them.
And a lot of the indie stuff was also, here's the stuff we can't do in a code book. So it was reactive to the code, kind of.
Yeah.
It wasn't just kind of as matter of fact. Now stuff is matter of fact.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this once in the show many years ago that the way American comics authors view uh, things like nudity and horror is juvenile compared to how
Right.
Europeans handle
Mhm.
things like nudity and horror, because it's reactive to authority.
Right. And it was to react to the making comics juvenile.
Yeah,
So it
yeah.
was like the reaction
But
was juvenile too.
yeah, and you go all the way back to the 60s, even to Robert Crumb. Robert Crumb, even though he's a neurotic,
Right.
the whole of the Zap Comics movement was juvenile.
Right.
And of course it had to be. Most of those guys were like 19, 20, 21
Right.
when they started doing that. But there wasn't much evolution, because even when they found their own niche, they stayed in that niche of a juvenile reaction to authority.
Mm-hmm. I still haven't made my way through that Robert Crumb comic that I bought 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. It's so dense, and the first one was so weirdly paranoid that well, of course, called Tales of Paranoia, so it's to be
Right.
expected. But I was just like, whew, I haven't made it through these other ones yet. I did get 2 little pieces of art off of eBay. They're not quite art card size because they're a little bigger, but I got these 2 pinup. There's the one of, and there's the other, and they're
Same price.
by a woman named Anarchy.minx on eBay, and she signed them with her real name. I think that's Lamb down the bottom, but the A is an anarchy symbol, and I
Yeah.
can't tell if that's Nick or Viv with like parentheses that don't match.
I think the idea is that they're supposed to look like boobs.
Oh, well, what's the name?
It could be Viv. Yeah.
Could be Viv,
Could be
right?
Viv.
It
Yeah.
could be Nick. But if you want your own, I wrote about on the back, Anarchy Minx on eBay. And they're only $5 a piece. She's got like different variations of them. Like the
I like
same
it. It
sort
has
of
a
drawing, but other
bit of a
color variations.
Tex Avery kind of feel.
What was that?
It reminds me a little bit of like Tex Avery.
Yeah. There's a little Tex Avery, a little like Batman Returns guy. Bruce Timm. Definitely a cartoon. Nice little drawings for $5 a piece. I was like, I'll get those. Why not?
Yeah.
Although, like I said, they're slightly bigger. That's yeah. Let me get one of these. It'd be easier to see.
Yeah, but at least it still fits in a sleeve,
Yeah,
right?
Well, no, it doesn't. It
doesn't. Oh, you're
this is
using the ones, the larger ones. Okay.
the larger sleeve, which I got from a lot of people mail, so you can see it's that much bigger. So
Yeah.
it won't fit in one of these or in a penny sleeve. But a lot of people like I think these cards were mailed in these.
Oh,
So
okay.
I switched over to the pen. Someone just I was like, oh, they'll fit in there. You know what I hate? I hate when I buy a card on eBay or something, and they tape over the top of the card with Scotch tape. Like they want to keep the card from sliding out, so they put a Scotch tape over the top. But that always leaves tape residue on the sleeve.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, that's so annoying. When they use painter's tape, it's much nicer.
Yeah.
But I've thrown away so many of these hard sleeves because they have tape residue on them. And it's not worth taking the 10 minutes to try to clean it off with my Bestine.
Right.
It's easier to just get another hard sleeve out and my own hard sleeve and put it. But it's like it's so wasteful. I'm like, oh, couldn't you use painter's tape? Nice little, and she used a sparkly watercolor too. I don't know if you can see that.
I could see the spark.
A little bit of
Yeah.
sparkle. So there's some, not this one, but this one. I have some like pearlescent watercolors. I've got some of that stuff too that I tried out. Neurotic erotic. That the style?
It can be, especially for Crumb.
The style is Anarchy Minx.
Mhm.
I really can't read that. Is it Nick? Is it Viv? I don't. If it's Viv, the first V looks like a U. And the last V would look like so maybe it's Nick, N-I-K.
Does the
With
return address have the name?
So I freaking don't remember. I don't remember no, it didn't. She did the old. She put my address as the return address as well as the address.
Oh, okay.
So therefore, if it somehow is undeliverable, they don't return it to her; they return it to me.
Oh, I guess it is. I guess it is Nick, N-I-K Lamb,
Okay.
because I can't find recent social media, but her MySpace page is still there.
Can you find anything under Anarchy Minx besides eBay?
No, I mean I get a lot of hits for something called Minx Anarchy, which doesn't seem to be here, but Anarchy Minx only takes me to this MySpace page.
MySpace page.
Yeah, she was apparently from Virginia.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't find that there's Mix Anarchy, but it's not her. Okay, so eBay, yeah, there's the eBay page. Nature watercolor curly girl woman. Pick click.
Yeah, occasionally I like to go on eBay and find some little art to buy. It's not too expensive.
Yeah, it's a lot of different pages on Pick Click and eBay. But apart from that, yeah, she has a MySpace.
MySpace. MySpace still exists. Wow.
Yeah, it's still there. I mean, I don't know who uses it.
Yeah, neither do I. Didn't like who bought MySpace, and it was like Yahoo or AOL or somebody like that, right?
I can't remember.
Neither can I.
Yeah, something like that. And I think eventually, like one of the guys who a band, I think, bought into it as well because they're trying to push the music thing, but I don't know if it ever went any.
Because it was when it first started, it was big in like music social media.
Yeah,
MySpace. That was its sort of breakthrough space.
Right, because at the time YouTube didn't allow you to upload music, even if you were the copyright holder.
And I remember when Michael Jackson died, lots of people went to MySpace to find out the news. And people were like, wow, MySpace is still relevant. So whatever year it was he died was just about when MySpace stopped being relevant, except for Michael Jackson's death. Let's see. I also got Lazarus Fallen, Michael Lark artwork, Greg Rucka writing. And this one also has been out forever, so I don't have a ton to say about it, except it's a really good comic. Takes place in the future when families run governments, different governments around the world, and the Lazaruses are sort of their superpowered people who they make. It's like they're, designed through genetics and drugs to be stronger, faster, and heal better than humans. And Forever is the Carlisle one. She's the main character, and eventually she rebelled against her family. And I think she was from somewhere in the U.S. She's been in Europe for a while now. And it's like the whole world is run by families. Like all the countries are now, they're not democratic. They're run by families. And the families run the economy and the government. And there's a whole spiel about it. But it's fun. It's good stuff. I really enjoyed this book. I've been, buying it for years. And this is Lazarus Fallen, which I think they said is going to 20 issues. And it's wrapping up the whole series. So if you've never read Lazarus, it's a good read. And I'd never hear much about it. It's one of those comics that you never hear, especially since it wasn't really a comic. Like the first, 20 issues or whatever, volume 1 came out as a comic. And then it switched over to twice a year in like a square bound format with a trade paperback every 2 years or something. So, and like half of the square bound format was his source book. So I switched over to the trade paperback for 2 years. So it's like for 4 years, I got one Lazarus every 2 years or something like that. Now it's back to being a comic. I'm like, all right, I'm on board with comic Lazarus again. But I wonder how many people are buying it besides me. I mean, I haven't seen it anywhere.
It hasn't popped up in any of my feeds.
No. Wonder if the trades sold well, or I have zero idea.
Well, the concept of Lazarus has been around for a while, but I don't know exactly who's buying it.
Yeah. I mean, it's been around for at least a decade, right? Or was it one of those 2012 books? More than a decade.
Mm-hmm.
But like I remember people buying it in the beginning, but you know how comics are.
Yeah. But funny thing, I always saw Queen and Country has a bigger commercial success, but Greg Rucka kind of let it slide after when he didn't want to keep the comic going and he wanted to turn it into novels. I know there were at least 2.
I imagine it was hard for him to keep going because there was a different artist every story arc.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine managing that was tough. Till he finally said, I'll just write novels. I'll write it on my own. It's well enough known that I can get a novel published of it. And don't have to find a new artist every 3 or 4 issues. Because I imagine that wouldn't be easy.
Yeah. The trades were small but cheap. Like 100 pages. And they would cost $9 when they came out. So at the time, $9 was not the price for a trade paperback, in no matter how few pages it had.
Speaking of trade paperbacks, I actually bought one at the comic shop this week. I think it's $17 for 5 issues. I bought Assorted Crisis Events, Volume 1, collects Assorted Crisis Events 1 through 5. And this is the one I've heard, people have mentioned it on my poll list and on this show. They said it's good. So I decided to give it a read. And I think it's because to me, it sounds like, from the title, it sounds like some sort of parody of Crisis. But I think it's normal people going through crises. The blurb on the back is, mingling in the red light district, you can find actual caveman, medieval knights, and cyborg soldiers on leave from World War IV. Victorian debutantes amble their way into cell phone stores, confused and bewildered. What is a data plan? On their way to work. Bleary-eyed commuters get trapped in time loops, get assaulted by alternate reality versions of themselves, and try to avoid post-apocalyptic wastelands. And look, the 315 bus just took a wrong turn into the Neolithic era. So I imagine now that this is sort of an anthology, each issue, and it's crisis events happening to like normal people. Let's see. It's individual stories where things are moving through time loops. Time loops? You got Captain Infinity attention. So, and I also just saw, this is by, who does this? Writer Dennis Camp, Dennis with a Z, Deniz. The artist is Eric Zawadski, Zawaddzki. Jordi Belair is our colorist. Hassan Atsmain El How is our letterer. Tom Muller is the designer, and Wesley Griffith is the production designer. Collection color by Eric Zawadski. Like I said, I've heard good things about it, probably from 62 Lefty Blues. So I saw it on the shelf, and I was like, I saw it last week, but I had enough comics last week. I was like, I'll get it this week.
You know that you pick up so many books colored, lettered by Hassan, that he's probably
El How, or however you sell his name.
Otsmane, I think it's Otsmane Helaou. He's British, but his father was Algerian, which is kind of weird because Algerians migrate to France. But Hassan is probably the guy making the most money out of American indie comics right now.
Yeah, he sure seems to be. I have said that name many, many times.
No, when I used to watch his YouTube channel, he kind of insisted for a while that it was okay to call him Hassan OE.
Okay. Maybe I'll go to that.
But that was like 10 years ago. So
OE. Hassan OE. Does he still make YouTube videos?
I don't know. I stopped watching many years ago because I was beginning to find it repetitive. There was a lot of production notions, and I really wasn't interested in watching videos about producing comics at the time.
Why do Algerians go to France? I do know why. Okay. I do know why.
Right now, I can't think of an Algerian in French comics. There's probably a few.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be. Is that big NBA star from France, Wembley? Wonder if he's Algerian.
I don't know.
Have you heard of him?
No.
He's like this is his first year or his second year. He's black guy from France, and he is really tall and thin at this moment, but really good athlete. So he's expected to be the best basketball player in the NBA sometime soon, though I think he's injured right now.
Right. There is a Portuguese player on the NBA, Keta. His family came from Cape Verde. He was born in Barreiro, which is like 25 miles, less than 25 miles from where I live. And he lives in the US and he plays basketball. I can't remember the team.
Captain Finity is
It's Ket,
adding
Keta,
assorted crisis events to his suspicion for time travel infractions usual suspects list.
Okay, yeah. He plays for the Celtics. Queta. Queta.
Uh-huh.
The NBA was kind of a thing around here during when Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley were still playing.
Yeah, Michael Jordan sure was global. That is for sure.
But now it's a niche thing. There's a lot of people in Europe who follow NBA, but it's not mainstream entertainment.
There's a lot of European players in the NBA.
And what's ironic, all of the college basketball players who can't make it onto the NBA come to Europe to become pros.
There's spots for them over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was having a chat with Grok over about how you move to pro sport, about the ways you become a pro sportsman in the US, because the way you move up the ranks doesn't make any sense. You only become a professional player when you're 23. In European soccer, by the time you're 23, you're a seasoned veteran. But the funny thing is, you can play until you're 40. Nobody plays football or basketball in America when you're 40.
Very few. Tom Brady, of course, the most famous one, but
right,
it doesn't happen often. Yeah, like usually to play football or there are exceptions, but usually to play like football or basketball, you better be a grown man.
Mm-hmm.
You will get knocked around if you're not.
Right.
Of course, there are exceptions. LeBron James started at 18, but he was a giant. I was just listening to a clip today.
How did he get drafted?
He got drafted out of high school.
That's not normal.
No, that's what I mean. There's Dwight Gooden. Do you remember him? A pitcher for the New York Mets. I believe he was an 18
familiar.
or 19-year-old pitcher. He was a phenom, but that's rare. Mm-hmm. Usually, you have to kick. He came out of the minor leagues at like 19, which is rare. It's even rarer for football players because those guys are big and strong and athletic and like. I was just listening to some football player. He was a defensive end telling his welcome to the NFL moment when he was a rookie, which is a thing you do on social media these days. Tell everybody you're welcome to the NFL moment. When in his first year playing, he was going up against Jonathan Ogden, who's a Hall of Fame offensive lineman. And he said Jonathan Ogden was just talking to him the whole game. He's like, not even trash talking. He was just going, son, you got to do better than that. And he was like, oh, now you're trying the spin move, okay? And he's like, he couldn't get past Jonathan Ogden because he was, when you're defensive lineman, when you're a defensive lineman going up an offensive lineman, you're in a fist fight the whole game. You're hand fighting and body fighting to try to get through the guy. So you have to, when you're a really good defensive lineman, you have a vocabulary of at least half a dozen moves you're going to use. You're going to use this move, into that. When you enter the NFL from college, you maybe have one or two moves. That's it. So the offensive lineman, when you're Jonathan Ogden, guy with one or two moves, that's an easy day for him.
Right.
Doesn't matter how highly you recruited you are. So that's why it takes them so long. A lot of NFL players, there are exceptions, of course, to get into it and be good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's because we have college football and basketball rather than the minor leagues. There's minor league baseball. You can find minor league, and also college football and basketball are different games in sort of a lot of ways than pro. They're played slightly differently. So you have to kind of learn new things when you go pro.
We don't have sports. We don't have sports teams in college. Although 3 of our rugby national championship teams are college teams, but none of the players are college students.
I've seen videos of Europeans going to American college games for the first time, and they're just like, "Holy cow!" Because these colleges have stadiums that fit 80,000 people.
Yeah, but we don't.
Like, this is a college.
Our soccer players don't. They can come up through the minor leagues, but they don't. They mostly don't. They come up from the youth leagues.
Right.
So imagine that you're the New York Giants and the New York Knicks, and you have teams for 12-year-olds. And there's a national championship for 12-year-olds.
Right.
But we have that.
Yeah.
Every country in Europe has that.
That's what baseball has.
But not for basketball, only for soccer. Nobody cares about anything that is not soccer when it comes to 12-year-olds.
If you were like, there are places in the U.S. that are sort of like that, like college football or high school football in the South and in Texas is huge. The whole town. They have high school football stadiums that you'd think were professional football stadiums. And the whole town comes out. Friday nights is for high school football. Saturdays is for college football. And Sundays is for professional football. Mm-hmm. That's the way it is. Though professional football certainly has spread out over the years.
Yeah, but that's not how it happens in Europe. In Europe,
that's how it happens here.
Yeah, Friday nights is for professional soccer. Saturday nights is for professional soccer. Sunday nights is for professional soccer. Monday nights is for professional soccer. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday is for international professional soccer.
Well, also like football's a unique game in that you can't play it that often. It takes so much wear and tear on your body that once a week is all you can play it.
Right.
So football becomes an event sport rather than, I once heard someone say, baseball is a sport you live with every day. Mm-hmm. And I imagine soccer is sort of the same way.
Yeah, you practice you take one day off and you practice the whole of the week, and you may have you may have 3 matches in the space of 11 days.
Yeah. I've heard football described as like getting in a car crash every weekend. That's how much of a toll it takes on your body. So you can't do that often.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, you can be a professional NASCAR racer at 50.
Yeah. The college football stadium that is 1/3 miles from my house has held 115,000 people.
Yeah.
We don't have the 34th largest sports venue in the world. Yeah, those.
Right. Wow. We don't have venues for 100,000 people.
Yeah.
No, there are games that you could sell 100,000 tickets and still have lines outside waiting for them.
Right.
But no team wants that. No, because the upkeep of a stadium for 100,000 people is too much, even if you could fill it up for every game.
Most football stadiums, your pro football, which is the most popular sport in the US of A, gets the highest TV ratings of anything. Most football stadiums are 60,000 to 70,000. College football stadiums, some of them are bigger than that. Like you said, 110,000, 115,000 people. And they're like, well, because the colleges are huge. The colleges have like 100,000 kids in them. It's nuts.
Mm.
And that's why some of the best comic book stores are on college campuses, I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you can get a comic book store on a college campus, you've got a lot of foot traffic. So I've heard of college campuses doing well, but a lot of that stuff isn't around New York, though. You know, high school football and college football is not big in New York State. Pro football is like especially in the South and Texas and the West too. College and high school football are really big.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Next year, IndyCar is going to have a race on the Dallas Cowboys Stadium parking lot.
The $1 billion playpen. Another comic I got this week. Everything Dead and Dying. And I don't know if this is going to end up being an anthology, because it seems the story ended with this issue, but we're starting with a new one too. This is Jacob Phillips, Sean Phillips' son, on art. And I finally found him, and I've liked his art, but I haven't bought a series by him yet. And the written by Tate Brombo, who I've never heard of before. Colors by Pip Martin. Letters by Aditya Bidikar, another one who I've said a lot. And another really very emotional issues these three have been. Really good. It's a zombie story, but it's different. First issue was about this guy, small town in Canada, living his life. He's a farmer. He runs a small farm with his wife, with his husband and daughter. And you slowly caught on that everybody in town is a zombie. But since he's a farmer and has been growing all this food, he's just been feeding them food. And they haven't really decayed. Since they're not hungry, they haven't turned into zombies that want to kill you. But they're just like caught in they can't talk. They're not humans anymore. They're just caught in this loop where they keep reliving their last day. So the mailman keeps showing up at his door every day. He says hello, gives him some food. His husband and daughter are both zombies. He just feeds them every day, and he's been living like this for 2 years or something. So at the end of the first issue, finally, we see people from not his town show up at his door, and they're like, zombies. And they want to kill the zombies. And he's like, no, that's my family. And so for the issues 2 and 3 have been about him trying to deal with these people who are killing his family, who are zombies, and they mostly don't want that. They're mostly trying to talk to him, but there's a group dynamic going on where the one woman is just like, this is an affront to God. We should kill all these zombies. And the other guy's like, hey, that they're not bothering anybody. Let's just talk to this guy. And we find out in this issue that there's these people live in some city elsewhere, but the whole world is zombies, and they're running out of resources. So they're going out and trying to look for resources. They're sort of like a Hail Mary pass because their city is filling up with humans, but they can't take care of them all. And it's just so, and we get, looks into this guy's past with his family, him losing them all over again. Some of the people, he takes one guy hostage who's like 6. I guess the zombie thing has been going on forever because this 16-year-old kid has never known a world without zombies. And he's just like, kill me if you want to. This world is terrible. So really some emotional stuff in these 3 zombie tales, these 3 zombie issues. So this one, I think I'm not sure if I put it on my pull list or just ordered 3 issues individually, but I'm going to put it on my pull list now for sure. So, because all 3 issues kind of gave me the feels. Nice emotional stuff going on, more than your average comic book.
I do enjoy zombie stories, and that sounds like a nice twist to it.
Yeah. Yeah. I can hear the stadium on game days at home. I can hear the local high school stadium on game days, especially since they built a new one half a mile away as the crow flies. But it's a high school stadium. It'll fit a couple thousand people. I don't even know if a couple thousand people show up because this is New York, and we don't care about high school football as much as some other parts of the country. The 2 LCSs that were in town when I was in high school were across the street from the center of campus. Yeah, good spot. But this is the first, like, I've been waiting for a series of Jacob Phillips that because I think this is probably the 4th Jacob Phillips series I've tried out.
Mhm.
And the other 3 were okay. But I didn't love them, and I never ended up buying more than a couple of issues of each one. So I'm happy to have a Jacob Phillips because I like his art. It's a bit like his dad's, who's really good, of course. So I'm happy to have a series from Jacob Phillips that I can put on my
To enjoy.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, the other ones were okay. I just didn't want to buy them. Money is money.
Yeah.
By the way, I've noticed a trend on TikTok. Some people apologizing for their Comic Haul videos. Some people defending their Comic Haul videos because somebody made a video about how comic book haul videos were all about showing off your privilege because you can buy comic books. Because comic books are so expensive. And I was just like, all right, there's an opinion I never thought of before.
Is that also part of the discussion that I noticed on TikTok about pirating comics?
It could have been. I don't know.
Buying because I've seen a Discord about people talking about you shouldn't pirate comics.
Yeah, I've seen that before.
And I've seen people talking about it was like, no, because you're only stealing from the corporation. And it's like, no, because then you have people saying that no, because you got comic books that are being canceled because they don't have enough readers.
Right.
But if all the people who were pirating them were buying the books, those books would not be canceled. And I don't get involved in any of the discussion about comic book stuff because it's just that it gets too crazy, too nutty, and it's like I can't care for that anymore. Because I've had all those talks and discussions back when I was younger, and it always was the same conversation. And at the end, it's like people are going to do what they're going to do. Right. And to me, it's like I wouldn't apologize for my comic book haul because at the end of the day, all this social media stuff is just one long book report that we each get to do.
Yeah.
And some get to be better than others. It's all show and tell, and then it's like
right. I just thought it was a weird take. That had never even crossed my mind before.
Right, exactly. And it's like I am not the person to be in the discussion, at least for me, to talk about what may be privilege and what may be not. And it's like, I'm not buying stuff because I'm rich. I'm just I am very bad with money. It's not that I'm rich. I'm irresponsible. And again, it's one of those odd things.
I am certainly not rich, but comic books are the first thing I buy. For some people, comic books are the first thing they cut out. They're the first thing I buy. I don't buy beer. I don't buy coffee. I don't go out to dinner. All that stuff that people take for granted that they buy, I don't buy, so I can buy comic books.
Yeah. Oh, I have to have my vacation away.
Yeah.
I have to go out at night on Saturdays.
Right. I have not been on a vacation since I was a child.
Yeah.
It's what I try to keep. It's the comics.
Yeah.
You know, if I go, and I don't even say I go on vacations. I go to comic convention, and I, you know, mentally think of that as a vacation, but it's not. I'm doing more work,
Yeah.
you know, physical work at a convention.
Every time
know?
I commute into New York, I walk from 34th Street to 14th Street so I can buy a comic book. Every
Yeah.
walk I take is an extra comic book. And I've had people say, "Why don't you take the train up?" I'm like, "No, it cost me $2.90 to take the train up.
I could use that money for a comic book.
I can use that money
Yeah.
for a comic book."
Yeah.
These are people who say comic books are too expensive. I'm like, yeah, you know, depends on how you spend your money. You spend your money on a train ride up 20 blocks. I don't.
Yeah.
And when people tell me why do you keep all your comics? What good are those comics? And what good is you going on vacation? But
Yeah.
everybody goes on vacations. The argument from popularity.
I've heard people say comics are too expensive who spend more on coffee each week than I
Gotta have
spend on.
The new Samsung 12 or whatever.
Spend more on lunch
Yeah.
than every week than I spend on comics.
I don't mind spending money on lunch, but I'm good
Yeah.
at picking. I'm good at picking places which are cheap to have lunch in.
Right. I used to spend money on lunch in the 90s. I don't spend money on lunch anymore. But
Yeah.
I bring my lunch in.
But here the situation is different because I can go out and have a steak and wine for less than $15. It's not the steak that's $15. It's the whole meal, including the wine. That's $15.
Right.
Can't do that in Manhattan when I.
Not at all. I end up like I go into the city, pick up my books, maybe stop over to book off to see what toys they may have, and it's like I could get something to eat, or I could go home and shop locally and get something just as cheap, if not cheaper, than getting it in the city.
Liz wants to know if this is ESPN. It was briefly. Now we're back. Now we're back to comics and talking about how we buy our comics.
No. Now it's the Food Network.
The Food Network.
Mm-hmm.
Tit Goblin says, giant teeth, gotta check. Travagui? I don't even know what that word is.
I don't know what that is.
Irresponsible is a word for me. I buy comic books beyond my budget, but I try to get them cheap.
I do the same thing with the toys. I try to get them cheap the best I can. I hate paying retail.
When I was making, whenever that was 8-10 years ago, when I was making no money, lost all my work, I was still going to the comic shop every week and buying comics. I was making custom Magic the Gathering cards and making $20 a week selling custom Magic the Gathering cards just so I could buy comics.
Regarding when it comes to the irresponsible, I remember one time that we had a meetup for the Portuguese fans, and okay, where are we having lunch? I don't want to spend too much money on lunch because I need the money to buy comics. Okay, no, stop. First of all, we're all going to a franchise where it's cheap to eat. Second, if you have to choose between food and comics, you should not be buying comics either. But then again, the guy was like 19. The guy was 19 or 20 at the time.
Yeah,
and
I can understand that.
You're probably getting money from your parents, so shut up. And anyway, yeah, if you have to go someplace and you have to eat, don't buy comics. Eat. You can buy comics later.
Tit Goblin says, bad joke about the Travago commercial. I haven't seen a commercial since the 1990s. I just don't watch TV commercials. The only thing I actually ever watch live on TV is football games. And as soon as a commercial comes on, I hit that mute button. I don't hear him. I don't see him. So any commercial that's coming, I can sing you childhood jingles, but I don't know any commercial that's come out in 25 years at least.
No, where I run into commercials is on YouTube. I'll be watching a YouTube show and a commercial will pop on, and it's like,
You don't
and
use DuckDuckGo?
no.
DuckDuckGo has its own duck player that takes out all the commercials.
Really? Well,
Some
sometimes I watch YouTube on my Xbox.
then
I
you
use
got
that. I use that as my main entertainment thing because
if you watch
I don't have cable or anything like that. I have the internet, but
right.
we don't have like cable
Yeah.
television or anything like that. So I watch everything on my Xbox, and then on my Xbox I have YouTube connected to that. Some of my I have Amazon, and I have certain other things that I can have for entertainment. And so, and a lot of times it's YouTube or something like that. And it's like, yep, we get the commercials on that.
If you've got YouTube on anything but the computer, you're getting commercials.
Yeah.
Unless you
Yeah.
pay for the subscription.
Right.
And you still get some commercials from what I
Oh,
understand.
yeah? I
Yeah.
did not know
You don't
that.
get as many, but again, commercials will sneak in there, which is kind of funny because this weekend I did a TikTok on it. I was watching a Starbucks commercial and I realized I was in a Starbucks commercial.
I saw that TikTok.
And it was like I completely forgot about it because it's like I wasn't playing a part. I was background because it was the Starbucks that was in Astor Place. I used to go there a lot to meet other comic book artists. It was just a nice little central place that was always open in weird hours, and it was like we were sitting in there and they came up and it's like, we're going to be filming a commercial. Would you like to stay here and continue, but you have to sign these forms, and sign the forms. We got the drinks we were having there for free, like we got a refill of what we were drinking, and we got like a $15 or a $25 gift card. And it was like, and I never know if the commercial aired, I'm assuming, but I never got to watch it to see it, and would I have been in the background? But it was like one of those things I completely forgot until there was a Starbucks commercial.
Starbucks. Let's see, the last comic I got for the week. Good as Dead. David and Maria Lapham. And it's sort of a classic David Lapham 8-panel grid crime story. This is his most typical style, where he uses the 8-panel grid. Of course, with some variation at times, but he tells the story like, there's still the 8-panel grid, but he mashes the panels together. Actually, that would be a 6-panel grid. Half splash there. And it's the story of, is this another small Canadian town one? I can't remember if it's Canadian, but another small town. And there's this one family that somehow runs the one bridge in town. I guess they collect the tolls on it or something. And then they built another bridge, and the second bridge on its grand opening day collapsed, killing like 100 people. And the sheriff of this small town hates that family because he thinks they killed his dad. So he's trying to pin it on him. Meanwhile, someone poisoned him. And it's the old incurable poison. He's got 3 days till, so he's trying to solve the crime, pin it on them because he thinks they did it before he dies. And he's got his sister and a whole cast of characters. The basic David Lapham crime story, I would describe as normal people get involved with crime and things go really badly. That's kind of what this is, but the sheriff isn't quite a normal. I guess he's a normal sheriff, but usually it's not law enforcement. It's just you or me gets involved with crime. So good stuff. I don't know how many issues it's going. Each issue is about 40 pages, so each issue is like double sized, and $8. But some sort of classic David Lapham, some Stray Bullets type David Lapham.
Nice.
Stray Bullets. Have either of you read any Stray Bullets?
Yeah.
I
Good stuff.
believe so. That was DC was printing those.
Who printed them?
No.
Was Stray Bullets DC?
Oh no, you're
No,
thinking
that's
of
1,000
100
bullets.
bullets.
I'm thinking of 100 bullets.
100 bullets.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't
Stray
think I did.
Bullets, he mostly self-published, but his set volume 2 was Image Comics published it.
Yeah, so no, I don't think I did.
Yeah, and they're all David Lapham crime comics.
Right.
I actually have. I wish they came out with a fourth one. I have all the issues now. I didn't start. That was one of those comics I didn't start buying till like issue 12. I'd sampled a couple issues before then, but really didn't start buying it till like issue 12 or something like that. And then I bought. He used to be putting out these oversized hardcover editions that were terrific. Each one had like 10 issues in it. But then he never finished the story for 10 years. So there was never a fourth volume of that. So I was always like, there was supposed to be, but it just never came out. I'm like, I wish I had that fourth volume. I wish that fourth volume would come out sometime. And they have, they call it the Uber Alles edition, all like 44 issues, all in one softcover edition of volume 1. But the oversized ones are so nice. That's the one. I have the first issue autographed.
Really?
By Lapham, because I bought a piece of his art off of eBay from him, and he forgot to send it. This was before everything was all automated on eBay. I don't know, 15 years ago. So I had to eventually email him and go, did you ever send me that page? He was like, oops, sorry. And sent me a quick little drawing and an autographed copy of the first issue to apologize for never sending my original art. And I got the piece of original art comes from Silverfish, which was a Vertigo graphic novel he did. A crime one.
Silverfish. Yeah, I don't think I've read any of his stuff.
Yeah, just about anything by Lapham I like. He's one of those automatic buys for me. Especially if he's writing for it. The stuff he and Matt Kint were doing for Bad Idea were good. I liked that stuff. The Hero Trade, I think it was. I almost there's a big Hero Trade paperback came out that was in my comic shop because Bad Idea now goes through, I forget what's distributor. They're not self-distributed anymore. I kind of wanted to buy it, but you know, I still have a little PTSD from quitting.
Bad Idea.
So I couldn't buy it. Even though it's Lapham and Kint, two of my favorites.
Lapham and to Kint. See what books he has, and it's like, I don't think I've read any of them.
Nah.
I only bought the first. I only ever bought the first Stray Bullets straight paperback. It was nice, but it didn't stick with me. So
the early stuff, like I said, it didn't. I sampled an issue here or there, but it wasn't until I started reading it regularly around issue 12 that it stuck with me, and I went back and got the early stuff. But now I love the early stuff because it's the beginning of the story, and also he jumps around in time. And things happen that are disconnected from other things until later on. So it's really, his storytelling was very different in the beginning. He'd stopped doing, like volume 2. Like some of the main characters died at the end of volume 1 of Stray Bullets. So volume 2 was really a prequel. It was, he brought all the characters back who died and told the story of, but the story wasn't really related to Volume 1. It was just more stuff that went on. More crime stuff. Let's see. Did you look at The Twilight Zone #2 by Tom Scioli? No, I didn't see that came out. I heard that was coming out too late. I mean, I heard that existed after pre-order, and I was like, oh, I'll look for it on the shelf. But I don't think my LCS got any extras in. Found the Space Scouts in a dinged up bin for $2 yesterday. It looks like, yeah, I enjoyed Space Scouts #1 quite a bit. I'm gonna be getting that one. But yeah, I think I heard about that Twilight Zone #2 by Tom Scioli after final order cutoff. I was like, ooh, I might have ordered that one. Maybe I'll check with my LCS and see if, but he only did issue #2, because I think it's like there's different. It might be an anthology. One of those each issue a different artist. That reminds me, I want to reread Godzilla versus the Great Gatsby. No, what was that? What was the name of that? Masterpieces.
Monsterpiece Theater.
Monsterpiece Theater. There, I want to reread that now that all this stuff is out.
It was funny because I was thinking of that book earlier today or yesterday. I was thinking about. It was something about I had picked up some of the Burger King Universal Monster action figures at 3.75 figures. And I was thinking about it, and it was like, oh, how to display it and stuff like that. And it was like, I could put it with this, I could put it with that, kind of a thing. And so I'm letting my mind wander, thinking about it when I was making some coffee. And then it was like, oh, well, I could sneak in Godzilla into that. And it's like, wait a minute, he already can be part of that because of the Gatsby book, because it's all connected. And it was just funny. I was like, oh, I got to go through that book again. It's been a while since I looked at it and enjoyed the heck out of it. So it was just funny that you mentioned that, because it was like that book was on my mind recently.
And he says, yes, each Twilight Zone issue is by a different writer artist. Okay. I'll look for issue 2 then by Tom Scioli.
That makes sense for a Twilight Zone type of book.
Yeah.
To have rotating artists on that.
I like Tom Scioli's enthusiasm for comics.
Yeah.
He's one of these guys. I'm not going to tell you he draws the best. I'm not going to tell you he's got the most talent, but he makes the most of his talent. He gets it done.
Yes.
And you can tell he enjoys what he does. And that comes through in his work for me.
Yeah, I can see that. It definitely does.
Which reminds me, I might track down his Godland again, which I bought the giant versions of. But once again, I sold them when I needed the money. They were going for some fairly decent money. I don't think they do anymore. And I can get them in trade paperback or even the original issues. But that's a decent story. I don't know if you've ever read that one, Godland.
I didn't finish it.
I had picked up issues of it when it first came out, because I really liked the artwork in it. And colors, the colors that he used in it, really, I found that to be attractive.
Yeah. You didn't finish it because it took so long to finish. Probably the last trade paperback came out years after the second to last one. So remember, they weren't making any money on the comic, so they were having a hard time finishing it.
Yeah, so that book, I'm trying. Like, the memory I have of that book was more of buying it at Hanley's. I remember buying the book at Jim Hanley's, and it's like, I really like the way this looks. So it's like I have like that core memory of picking it up at Hanley's, going, "Ooh, I like this," and then that's it. I don't think there was any other memory of that book in a comic book shop.
What I found weird about that book, too, I liked it. I liked the story. I liked the art. and Tom Scioli was sort of doing a Jack Kirby thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't think he understood Jack Kirby at all. He was doing his Jack Kirby stuff, but I'm like, he's doing this Jack Kirby stuff wrong. And like I don't think he understood why Jack Kirby. He had some of the superficial elements of Jack Kirby, but I don't think he understood why Jack Kirby was doing. I found that very weird sometimes. I'd go,
Yeah. I noticed an issue where this is a Ditko layout.
yeah. But I liked it, but I just found that odd about it. He also seems like a nice guy, says Tit Goblin. All right, that'd be nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind interviewing him.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind him being a nice guy at all.
Yeah, but I ended up not buying it. I suppose if they ever made like a two-part, two omnibuses with the entire series, I wouldn't mind picking
The
it up.
oversized ones came in 4 parts, which is good. With I'm okay with like the oversized ones being like 10 issues. I prefer my omnibuses slender to giant.
Yeah.
Like those Invincible ones. That's the size I like. I think they have 12 issues of Invincible in an omnibus. That's my favorite size of the omnibus. Not that I won't get the giant ones.
Right.
But that's my favorite size. I find them most comfortable to read. Like, that Mystic one I got is the giant Marvel thickness ones with 42 issues in it. Those can be a little tough to read sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, we should start wrapping it up. Giving them some balloons. We'll be on Paulo's channel next week, the day after Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. Where
We'll
I'll
definitely won't be teaching that day.
No, not at all. I shouldn't be.
I may even be alone if you two are in a food coma. Yeah, should have laid off the cranberry sauce.
I am not a big eater, at least all at once. I'm more of a grazer. I can eat a lot in a day, but I can't eat a lot in one sitting.
Yeah, I do not eat the way I used to for Thanksgiving. So, yeah. So
I know how to pace myself, so I won't go in a food coma. But I might be tired at the end of the day anyway.
Yeah.
Driving up to my aunt's.
Okay. Are you one to
All
help
righty.
prepare, or you just you get there and you watch football?
Now, I bring the mashed potatoes.
Oh, okay.
So I'll be making mashed potatoes in the morning.
Oh, you bring the easy food.
Oh, mashed potatoes. I find them easy, but most people do not. Mashed potatoes are work.
Wait,
if you're making them from real potatoes.
Right.
But peel potatoes. You got to cut them
you
up.
guys are in America. None of you need to make actual mashed potatoes.
Oh, I insist. I'm not eating fake mashed potatoes. No. May as well not have them. What is it? I don't find them hard at all because I've been bringing the mashed potatoes for decades. But some people do. I don't like that. And I know exactly how to cover them and put them in the ice chest and bring them so they're hot for when we eat. They're still steaming hot. And put them in a ceramic bowl, foil over the top, in an ice chest, towels filling out the ice chest. I know what I'm doing.
Paulo, it seems like you don't celebrate Thanksgiving as well as we do.
Wait, do you put nutmeg on top of the mashed potatoes?
No, nothing. Just potatoes, milk, and butter. Keep it simple.
Okay. Well, when you're done, you should put some nutmeg on them.
Okay, I'll have to try that.
But I don't usually eat mashed potatoes. I'm a rice person.
Okay. I like rice too, but I love mashed potatoes. All right, so everyone have a good Thanksgiving.
Yeah, eat a lot of mashed potatoes and
cranberry sauce. Potatoes.
Have a great weekend.
We will see you all the day after. Happy Canadian Thursday.
I do not have any Thanksgiving, so I will eat normal food.
Later, guys. Later to you, too. We'll
Take
catch
care.
you next week. Dun, dun, dun.